Okay, so this is just more research about shame that I'm going through, especially in regards to Christianity. And I was reading this article of overcoming the paralysis of toxic shame, and this article really talks about its sources, mainly parental sources, um, and that healthy shame is basically guilt, which can move us in a positive direction. But shame, when toxic, is paralyzing, and it's a global assessment of oneself as a person. Well, some researchers suggest that shame comes about from repeatedly being told not that we did something bad, that we are something bad. Now I have to remind you that Christianity says that we are all sinners. And essentially, on the most basic level, and you think of this the way a child would absorb it, in a lens of just good, this is bad. Well, sinning is bad, and I would argue that you could even hear parents tell their children this, and even hear that. Sometimes you hear that phrase mentioned specifically. Sometimes it's just absorbed. It's just a conclusion that's came to. But obviously, sinning is bad. Like, sinning is not ever. When was sin in the Bible framed as being okay? The only way that it's framed as being okay is that we are all sinners. But that doesn't say that sin is okay. You see, because of the original the original sin of Adam and Eve, right? And somehow it seems in the moment like if you're again you're a child, or you're a very simplistic thinking person, when you're told that Adam and Eve story, the conclusion is, okay, well, we're all sort of in the same boat, right? We're all sinners. And of course, it's Adam and Eve's faults. But that doesn't remove the fact that you're being told that you are something bad, right? Unless somehow magically, as a Christian, and I don't know how you came to this conclusion, you came to a more moderate conclusion, or maybe you're part of an actually rational church that says, no, sinning is neither good nor bad, it's just something that happens, right? I don't see how anyone reading the Bible, or who's a Christian, or who's listening to Christians, or listening to a pastor or a priest, I do not see how they would come to that conclusion. It would absolutely be the extreme exception, right, to the rule, that Christians mostly see sin as bad, and therefore if you're a Christian, you are being told that you are something bad. And that gets to the crux of the problem with Christianity, is that you are being told indirectly and covertly, and sometimes directly, especially as a child, when you absorb these basic stories and basic Adam and Eve story. You're being told you are bad. You are a sinner. There's nothing you can do to change that. Right? I would argue that there could be a more moderate interpretation of this. I would bet if we looked towards Judaism and what they teach their children, I bet that you might come out with a completely different perspective on what the origin story of Adam and Eve is. But there's no getting around it. Most Christians think of sin equals bad, and that because of the original sin, we are all sinners. And the conclusion is you are something bad because you are physical form, because of a choice made by two people, if you believe in the actual story, that existed how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago. So this gets to the crux of the Christian shame problem. That the idea that you are something bad. Not that you did something bad, right? It'd be better that you did something bad and that you could correct your behavior. It would be better if you had it would be better to have a bad thought and then say, "Oh, that was not the greatest thought. I probably shouldn't dwell on that particular thought." Right? We all have desires and thoughts that wouldn't be acceptable if we express them outwardly, right? That's appropriate. Like, correct yourself before you go and express yourself and project yourself onto other human beings. But the idea that you are something bad is that's a seed that's being sown deep inside the minds of many millions of Christians, especially the children, okay, who are taught the story of Adam and Eve and who don't have the intellectual capacity and the boundaries to say, "Nah, I'm not gonna accept that. I don't like the way that sounds. That doesn't sound right for me." Right? That doesn't sound healthy for me to listen to this and accept this. But as children, we don't. It's not even what's being said. It's the fact that you're sitting in a room and you're all sitting in front of an authority figure, right? Or you're sitting with you're with your mother, your father, or you're with a priest. All these people to you are authority figures. As a matter of fact, all adults technically, well, in some ways can be seen as an authority from a child's perspective, because they literally could harm you. They can either protect you or they could harm you or they could ignore you. So every adult is someone that you're sort of subverted to automatically. Okay? So this is a deep seed that takes root and it's hard to unwind. And that's what I'm in the process of doing. I'm in the process of unwinding this BS in my brain because I'm ready to move forward with my life. Anyways, I thought I'd share some of my research. Hope you find it helpful.